Sir, Representative Pearson, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. I experienced a special session here, and it was a pretty ineffective use of our time and energy and resources for the issue that we were supposed to be focused on, which many of us thought were going to be public safety and the issue of gun violence. I don't think having us come back in September is going to change necessarily the tenor of the way that things sort of work and operate. But you mentioned because governing has seemed to happen during special sessions. I obviously disagree because I haven't seen that happen. Why do you think this September session would somehow be different than the way things operate during typical session time up here?
Of course, you've already mentioned, thank you, Representative Pearson, you've already mentioned this thing is in its 9th birthday.
Yeah.
So, good question. Chairman Hall, would you respond, please?
Thank you, Chairman. And I strongly disagree with your statements and your opinion on this piece of legislation. There are always issues that come up outside of the parameters of session, and being responsive body of government, the House, the People's House, we are requested to do work throughout a year's time. And an issue may come up outside the parameters of a regular session, and they always do. Once again, the thought behind this bill a decade ago was because of a decision that we were faced with that our constituents, many of our constituents said, you need to go fix this. And we never called a special session. We didn't convene to have that discussion. And the fervor on that particular issue had waned by the time we came back in January. So I disagree with your assessment. I think it's always good to have a conversation about whatever issues come up. And the fact that something's going to happen invariably between April and when we go back in January, I think a special session during that midterm is an opportunity to address those issues in that time.
Okay, Representative Pearson, follow up.
Yes. What was the issue 9 years ago?
The Obergefell decision by the United States Supreme Court.
Representative Pearson.
Say it again.
The Obergefell decision by the United States Supreme Court. Yes.
The decision legalizing gay marriage?
Correct. Many of our constituents, we had just passed a constitutional amendment that recognized marriage between a man and a woman. Many of our constituents had concerns about that and wanted to come in saying, what can we do to work with our clerks, our county clerks across the state? That was the genesis of why we were discussing that. More recently, again, I'll restate that we've been governing through special sessions, so that's why we're having this bill before us now.
Representative Pearson, follow
Thank you,
up.
Chairman.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you.
No, I'm not done, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
All right.
I just appreciate your recognition.
One more, please. One
Thank
more.
You so much.
We got more. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
And
Go ahead, sir.
We'll make it quick. The fact that this has failed for 9 years is a great thing, and I hope that it continues to fail. I won't support it. I think that the fact that you are still bringing this up when it comes from a place that I do not think we should ever legislate from, which is an attempt to hurt and harm communities that are already oppressed, that are already ostracized, is not a good idea. But the fact that you continue to bring it up for that particular reason is wrong, and I believe is immoral, and I think goes against the oath that we have to not do things that are injurious to our communities and to our constituents. And so I hope that you will stop wasting our time with this bill for the 10th year, and that you might come with more legislation that we can all agree upon.
Chairman.
Thank you. Your thoughts and your opinion are not germane to this issue. I cannot disagree with you more strongly. And our constituents come to us to do something when issues arise. You've just talked about your constituents coming to you for issues that arise. You want to have that ability to have that conversation. And we were not allowed to have that conversation. You talk more than anybody else in this House about everything.
Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Representative Butler.